everyone, this is Veronica Kirilenko of the New American Magazine. We're in Washington, D.C. attending CPAC, and with us we have John Zadrozny of the America First Legal. It's great to see you, John. America First Legal is a relatively new organization. Please tell us about your mission and how are you different from all the other legal watchdogs here in D.C.?
Well, thank you, Veronica. Thank you for having me. We are new. We are mostly alumni from the Trump administration, and we've been around for almost 2 years. In fact, next month is our 2-year anniversary. And I think what makes us different is, besides the fact that we come equipped with a lot of knowledge about a lot of the problems that were in the federal government, ranging from personnel to poor policies to just the wasting of American money, we also we do more than other groups, and that's not intended to be disrespectful to a lot of the other legal organizations. There are a lot of public interest law firms on the conservative side. They have very narrow areas of interest. They don't really sue a lot. We have decided that we were going to have a presence in a lot of different spaces because the American people need more help than just the occasional lawsuit. And we've tackled everything from the federal government's lawlessness to parents being abused by school boards and school districts around the country. And the bottom line is, if you need help, reach out to us at America First Legal. That's aflegal.org, aflegal.org.
Sir, you personally have so much experience in the area of immigration. You worked with the Trump's White House. You worked for the Department of State. So how would you describe the Biden's immigration policies, and what's their purpose even?
Well, that's a great question, Veronica. The way I would say it is this. When we were there, we had a lot of problems because the government, even while we were trying to repair problems, its focus was on the immigrant and not the citizen. The policy was to get as many immigrants into the country as possible. That's okay if you're doing it lawfully, but if you're doing it unlawfully, that's not okay. And we faced a lot of resistance across the federal government. This is a completely different situation that we see right now. The Biden administration's goal is the lawlessness that you see. I think there are some people, they say, gosh, they're really bad at immigration enforcement. They don't know what they're doing. It's completely false. This is a policy. It is their policy to allow millions of illegal aliens into the country. And to date, Veronica, it's about 6.5 million to 7.5 million, depending on how you calculate. And this is based on the Biden administration's own numbers. What's their goal? Their goal is amnesty. So the left in this country has been aborting children for 50 years, right? And it turns out when you spend 50 years killing Americans in the womb, you're short about 64 million voters. So this is essentially a voter drive done on the backs of the American taxpayer in lawless fashion, in very obvious fashion, in my opinion, and it's got to be stopped.
And what exactly do you do to stop it at the America First Legal?
Well, one thing we do is we have filed several lawsuits against some of the specific lawless immigration policies of this administration. They've tried to get rid of certain policies illegally. They've bypassed rulemaking. We had to be very careful. We had to go through specific federal rulemaking processes to do or undo things. They haven't done that. We filed lawsuits in those cases. The main thing they're doing is they are violating the federal parole law. Now, the short version, the easy version, is that federal authorities can parole someone in, but it's a case-by-case scenario. So let's say you come to the border and you're severely injured, you need emergency medical attention, we can parole you in. You're at the border and a family member's dying, we can parole you in to see them before they pass. It is not designed to parole hundreds of thousands to millions of people in and let them wander around the country, assuming they even show up for an eventual asylum hearing. So we've sued them on that. We're working with Texas and other attorneys general on these cases. We've got a lot of great attorneys general around the country. They are the real patriots who are fighting, and we're helping them. But there are also other things that will come up down the pipeline on immigration. It really comes down to whether this administration is going to be hemmed in by Congress. We're also working with Congress, by the way, to help them shape their response, everything from hearings to legislation and so on.
Well, you just mentioned attorneys general of different states, including Texas. What do you think about their practice of busing illegal immigrants into the interior of the country? And I know that you're not happy with the ICE doing that.
So, Veronica, what's going on right now, there's no way to sugarcoat it. The Biden administration is using these organizations and is helping the cartels. It is subsidizing human smuggling and human trafficking around the country, and it is doing so with your tax dollars and my tax dollars. And I don't say that lightly, but it's 100% true because the cartels, they are a business. They have a business model, and one of their commodities is people, smuggling them, trafficking them. And smuggling and trafficking are different, by the way. It's a very important distinction. A lot of the left likes to talk about trafficking. A lot of this is smuggling, which means They are voluntarily submitting to being transported. They're not being trafficked against their will. So they're saying, I'll pay you $5,000 to get me to Nebraska. Well, that's smuggling, and you're part of the crime. The Biden administration, though, is basically helping the cartels get their person through the final leg of shipment. It's like they're the cartel's UPS inside the United States. As far as we're concerned, that's illegal. That actually subjects not only, we think, certain federal officials, but also some of these supposed nonprofit organizations that are getting federal dollars to do the transportation, subjecting them to federal criminal liability under a few laws. So it's a big mess, but this gets back to the idea that this is not some sort of happenstance accident. These are people who are violating the law intentionally. They are doing it for a political reason. It is an engineered policy, and they don't care. And so that's why we at America First Legal are filing all these lawsuits and trying to keep tabs on them in other ways, including FOIA requests, trying to get as much information out. As you can imagine, Veronica, they don't want to talk about how they're breaking the law and hurting Americans. They fight us at every turn, but we just keep punching, and we're going to get more to the public as soon as we can.
Yes, on your website, I saw that you're trying to know how many unaccompanied children actually got to America, and how many illegal aliens were caught and then released into the country.
Yeah, if you go back, honestly, this is the scary part. Like, their own numbers have revealed that they have let millions of people into the country. In 2021, they let about 1.7 million people in. In 2022, they let about 2.3 million, and that's 4 million people. That doesn't include the people who have escaped law enforcement, and that doesn't include the people that no one ever saw, the people who sneak in the middle of the night wearing camouflage gear with cartel assistants, armed cartel members. Many Americans don't know, for example, the cartels, they have a real investment in getting these people in. This is not a joke for them. It's a profit business. They have operational control of parts of the Arizona border and the Texas border. And I could bore you with that too. The short version is it's really dangerous. This administration doesn't care that Americans are in danger, and it's trying to get as many people in as it can. 7.5 million. That may not sound like a lot of people in a world of 8 billion people. However, that's larger than the entire state of Arizona, Veronica. Right? It would be the 7th largest state in the union if you took every illegal alien who was present in the country and put them in the same place. And I'm only talking about the illegal aliens that have come into the country under Joe Biden. I'm not talking about the illegal aliens who are already here. That population is closer to the population of California. So we have a real problem in this country, and I think we have taken it seriously. I think the American people are sick and tired of being abused. And
And then, of course, there's fentanyl that is produced by the communist China,
Right.
is coming to America as well through the open border that Biden created. But we had a working immigration policy in place, and one of the rationales, or rather arguments, they try to present the working immigration policies as being immoral. And this is why they reverse them. How moral are what we're seeing right now?
The reality, Veronica, is that the left has to make that argument because they don't have the law on their side. I don't understand how they can say something is quote-unquote immoral when it's passed as a law and when it's pro-citizen. I think this is the hard part about the left. They don't want to say out loud that they don't think citizens should be running the country. They want to run the country. They're going to let anyone in who will help them have power, political power. And they really do have an America Last philosophy of governance, which is very, very frustrating. One thing about fentanyl, your audience may want to know, the cartels aren't stupid. They are very sophisticated. They have a lot of money and resources and intelligence at their fingertips. They use the influx of hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens into the country to get fentanyl in. And what do I mean by that? So here's a good example. We were talking to some local law enforcement in Arizona. And what they said is the cartels know exactly how this administration operates. They know this administration doesn't expel anyone. They know all they do is they detain people, they take them to the Border Patrol station, they clean them up, they hand them to an NGO who then flies them around the country at taxpayer expense, right? But they know, what time of day they're going to get there, how long they're going to be occupied, and when they'll be back in the field. Well, the cartel knows if they put 50 illegal aliens on a rancher's property at 9 a.m., the Border Patrol will be there by 9:30 a.m., the Border Patrol will be tied up for the next 8 hours, and they can just push as much fentanyl through as they want. By the way, some of those illegal aliens that they're letting into the country, these people who, for whatever reason, they think it's a good idea to give a Mexican drug cartel $5,000 to traffic a child of theirs from Guatemala to the U.S.-Mexico border. Well, what usually happens is they'll get you within 50 miles of the border and say, hey, you know what? Turns out you owe us more money. The good news is you can pay it off by carrying some fentanyl to Minneapolis for us. So they're using the basically a free labor force. They're leveraging the money they've already made to make additional profit. They're taking advantage of the complete distraction by the Border Patrol of an administration that's not removing anyone, and they're killing American citizens in the process. I mean, in some ways, I would go so far as to say this administration's conduct in certain corners is almost as criminal as the cartels.
Would you repeat how to support your work at the America First Legal, please?
Thank you, Veronica. We'd love your help and support. Also, if you are someone who needs help out there, you need a lawsuit, you're in a school district with crazy school board members, or you're being abused in a woke corporation, come reach out to us at America First Legal. That's aflegal.org. aflegal.org. We'd love to help you.
Thank you very much. I'm Veronica Kirilenko of the New American, and that was John Zadrozny of the America First Legal. Thank you.